So today, I'm going to give you the message that technology is available and it's not the inhibitor for what we need to do. So with that, I thought it's best that in a situation like that, if you're looking into the future, to take a step back and look down memory lane. It is fascinating that 2020 would also fall under memory lane. But if we take a look into that, you will see that we have moved tremendously from the 1800s to 2020 in terms of technology. We started off with mounted flagman on a horse. We went through to the token system, mechanical interlocking, electromechanical, relay, electronic interlocking, the digital interlocking, and what we will talk about now is very much the digital and the cloud interlocking. This has been the transgression or the transformation of infrastructure, interlocking as we know it. So the interesting things about this is, we mentioned earlier that some trains are moving at 5 kilometers per hour. On average, the trains are moving at about 35 kilometers per hour. The interesting point behind this is that a horse can go up to 80 kilometers per hour. A human being can walk 5 kilometers per hour. As an industry and as people working in Africa, put bluntly, we have not done our job. And I think you heard the frustration in other people's voice, but we have not done our job, and I'm going to include myself in that category, is I've been here 15 years now. And I want to see something happen before I leave this industry. So with that, I also want to say, we mentioned earlier that we're looking for sexy. Sexy is here. The future is here. It's in the digital interlocking, it's in the cloud-based interlocking, it's in some of the solutions I'm going to talk about today. So if I look at a quick snapshot in terms of signaling systems and where we've progressed to, we started with state-of-the-art signaling. My screen is flipping there. State-of-the-art signaling, which involved a lot of cables, which involved a lot of physical architecture. We moved more to the digitalization part of it, or the digital size, where you're looking very much decentralized architecture. You're looking at IP-based communication. And now the buzz phrases that we're talking about in all forms is cloud-based, which you can see from there. I will show you an example where we have done sulfur interlocking on similar features. But what you're looking at is high availability and the change in architecture and what we're doing. It's good news for us in Africa, especially in South Africa, because we want to get rid of copper. We want to get rid of physical infrastructure, and thank God the world is moving in and technology is moving in that way. So from the digital interlockings itself, in the future, we will have elements like points machines, because you need the physical switching. Polices in some instances will remain in the field. But most other equipment and most other products would either be transformed to the cloud or sitting on the train. Digital interlocking is mainly what we're looking at, IP-based architecture and standardized interfaces. Also earlier in the panels, guys were talking about standardization, so that's coming, where commands are sent from the dispatcher to the field elements and they digitally transmitted through a network. This is another important thing. This is not going to drop out of the sky. The network has to be in place. The IP network has to be in place. And the communication mainly network has to be in place. In the end, we will use intelligent field elements and sensors to get real-time data, better information, and all of this so we can make better decisions. That's the principle of what we will do. So Siemens, one of the companies, or the company I work for, one of the leaders in these areas, We have got software-based security platforms for this. And I must stress that it's software-based secure platforms for this, because everything you need, everything you own, sits there in some form or another. Better make sure it's safe. At the end of the day, we will move to a fully networked rail infrastructure in the future. It kills and solves a lot of problems, but it introduces others. One of the problems that it does solve is what I mentioned here, theft and vandalism. To be honest with you, I don't know another way we can get rid of this temptation. And I don't feel embarrassed to say that, because it's not a South African or African story. But 3 or 4 weeks ago, you would have read in northern Germany, there were interference or vandalism of cables that led to the shutdown of the network for a period of time. So this is happening, and it will start happening in a lot of parts of the world for the same reasons or similar reasons we have here. At the end of the day, the infrastructure will sit in the cloud, smart connected products. I think one of my colleagues will talk a little bit about ATO and ETCS in more detail. I'm not going to cover that. I think the next speaker will cover some of the communication technology in there. We're talking about 5G now. The days of GSMR and all of that are gone. Also, we got to learn to move forward. And by moving forward, you have to leave what's not supported. And this is important things to know about infrastructure technology. And cybersecurity. It's not a big issue at the moment. Yeah? I mean, we have seen some customers and some companies that experience big problems, including in South Africa. But when I'm talking about a rail infrastructure network, we better make sure the network is also secure in terms of what we have to do. I won't go through the full examples. There's a station in Austria that we have worked with and where we have upgraded the platform. We've used a distributed smart safe system. We call it DS3, but it's a software-based security platform where we have done SIL4 interlocking in the cloud, basically. The good news about it, your possibilities start to become limitless. Okay, everything has a time and a period after a while, but with digital, you can scale up, you can scale down, your possibilities become limitless. And that's where we are going to go in the future in rail. This is here already, but it will be expanded, and you will hear more about this from other companies and ourselves in the future. Another example was a place like Norway, where they really wanted to just digitalize the whole network, move to something more modern, more reliable. They have a big freight network in there, so it's not just that it's a passenger network. And here they used one central interlocking radio block center in Oslo, reduced infrastructure costs, maximum capacity, fully digitalized. In the end, higher frequency for them on the trains. I just want to take a step back from that. The technologies I spoke about are here already. We have taken a big step as a company, which was also surprising for me, and started to open up our platform, create a software platform where software becomes more modular. You allow APIs to be connected, hardware and software, different programming interfaces. And in the end, you start opening up this platform for other people who can do applications more effectively than you. So it's not about control, it's about creating the right platform to do that. That's where we are moving in the future. It's not only in rail, it will be in most infrastructure fields. It would be in power, it would be in general automation, general industry also. At the end of the day, when you do this, you can combine different systems and different software platforms or software packages you have. From an operator, you get central management of your assets in one system. That's what you're actually looking for in the end, to try and pull through all the information from all systems into one. It's not here at the moment. But that's where we're moving. The point of my presentation was to show what is the future looking like. Okay? Better capacity utilization, dynamic planning, whether it's train scheduling, whether it is timetable planning, asset management, GPS coordinates of your assets, whatever it is, as long as there's an app, as long as there's a functionality for it, it can be brought into the system with some work. What I'm showing at the bottom is what we have displayed at InnoTrans that happened in Berlin. Practical examples of this. So the world is moving there, and we're going to get there soon. In the interest of time, I'm not going to cover through a lot of detail on all of this, but I just want to give you the message that things like one ticket system for many applications, that's not a big problem anymore. Scalable and modular web-based platforms that handle multiple transactions, that's not a very big problem anymore. It's there, it's in the phases of starting to become fully operational. Timetable planning, scheduling, all of this you are familiar with. Smart data applications for predictive maintenance, you are familiar with. Asset management applications, like I mentioned, you are familiar with. We even have app-based apps that you have on your phone that you can use for your rail asset management now. Simple things, walk around, take a picture, gives you the GPS position, gets pulled into a database and gives you an interface from it, pulls out a report from it. So I have 2 more slides. So where are we now and what is the issue? Why will I not do this in my career? Africa, untapped, unconnected, unbelievable still. We're all to blame for it. On the one side, the left-hand side, you see the map of the unconnectedness. A lot of work to be done. On the right-hand side, you see the north-south corridor we spoke about. A lot of possibilities. I think the last time I was here and we spoke, we were looking at 44 weeks for a train to travel from Durban all the way up north. I'm not sure if that's improved or if that's changed now. That was back in 2018 or 2017, I believe. It's embarrassing. We have done very little. The good news for me about all of this is digital does offer us a way out. Like with the cell phone and fixed line, how you leapfrog, we can do the same here. Digitalization is an enabler. Rail will be the backbone behind freight and passenger. It's been proven. No other form can do that better. The issue of hydrogen trains, driverless trains, cloud interlocking, open APIs, app-based, all of that is here. The possibilities are quite endless. If someone asks me, do you have a solution? It's not a plug-and-play solution. That I can confirm with you through I'm not aware of it from any vendor. I'm not aware of it from any company, any operator. So what does that mean for us and what does that mean for operators? We need early engagement. Understanding technology options that are available. I can bet most of the people sitting in this room have got very little clue of what technologies they are really available. And I want to say it's not that dramatic. It doesn't have to be a stressful process. We are willing to engage with companies online, do whatever we want, just to help pass information and knowledge. And I think together as you go through that process, you will be able to understand what's best for your environment. It's a people journey. It doesn't mean if you want the technology like you want the infrastructure, it comes tomorrow. You got to find the right people to bring on board. Some people are old-fashioned. They will not move with this. We have the same things with engineers we employ. Some of them cannot do the transition. It's a case where they cannot be the ones driving the next generation. This is, for me, one of the key things you need to identify, and it's a long process to develop the skills for the future. Systematic planning, I think it was spoken about a few times already, to implement the plan, whether it's a big bang or a phased approach to implement it. Digitalization, technology of the future, digital interlocking, cloud-based, all of that is not a module, it's not a plug and play. It's a process, it takes time, it's infrastructure. It's worked like that for 100 years, it'll work like that, maybe not 100 years now, but it'll still work like that. And there's continuous improvements that need to be done. So this is where, from a technology perspective, like we said, from the finance perspective, you need to engage with the market. It's nothing fascinating about it. You just need to do that, and between all of us, we will find the solutions. My last point is the investment is a big investment for operators. It should last. I wrote 30 to 40 years. I think with digital, it's not going to be that. It's going to be like 15 to 20 years, and then someone wiser would find something better. You got to make sure you have the right partners on board. And with that, I want to open an invitation out to anyone here, any of the operators. We are willing to discuss technology. We don't have to give us an order. We are willing to do this online, like I'm sure most of your companies are. But we just want to start the process of engagement so we can start building this technology of the future right now. Thank you for that.